Welcome back! Okay, this is Ari, the other half of Dulari. So Abdul will be on here once I'm done, but I've been getting tons of questions asked on our Instagram, a lot of DMs asking us what we've done different, why did we decide to go to a holistic doctor, and what is up with this energy healer. The reason we decided to go with the energy healer and a holistic doctor is because we noticed that our 2.5-year-old continued to get sick every single December. And it was a cycle of doctor ER visits. Sometimes we'd stay the night at the children's hospital. And I truly didn't believe that it was just because the weather was changing or, you know, kids just get sick. The first 2 years of his life, I was kind of just like, oh, the weather's changing, and every time we travel up north to Northern California, because we live in Southern California, maybe his body's getting hit differently from the temperature, whatever. This time around, I was just so sick of the cycle of going to the doctors and then him getting on, you know, steroids and antibiotics and medicine after medicine and taking blood out. And I'm not saying that any of this is bad. I just knew that there was a deeper reason of why our son continued to get sick. So I really, you know, one of my girlfriends, I messaged her and I said, dude, what do you think this is trying to say? What do you think this is that God is trying, the universe, source, higher power, what do you think that this is trying to tell me? And she called me and she was like, when you sent me that message, she said, I just saw a picture of you holding him. And that just made me start thinking a lot of like, okay, let me dig deeper into why this is happening. And I started just reading little by little of like, when the body manifests in like sickness, it's usually because of a result of like filling in a gap, or like if there's resentment, or if you're not feeling aligned to who you are, or you're whatever it is. So there's not alignment within yourself. He's so little that I don't, you know, I don't necessarily think that like he has resentment. I actually don't know, but another thing is that you know, he wasn't speaking, and he was saying certain things. Like when we have another video talking about this, he was just, you know, speaking to us with one letter words. So if he wanted something, he would just address that. And then we did an evaluation, and there was a lot of like mumble of like autism, but it was never really like addressed. So anyway, Abdul and I, you know, I'm so grateful that he is just open-minded to like certain things, especially when it comes to our kids. So we decided, okay, let's dig deeper into this. So that conversation of my girlfriend, she said, I'm gonna give you my friend's number. She's an energy healer, and it's a little bit cuckoo, like if you're not in the right mindset. So like really be open to it. So, and I am open to stuff like that. I really do believe in different things that, you know, people are gifted with. So anyway, I finally got on the phone with this energy healer. Abdul's gonna talk about the holistic doctor experience, but I finally got on the phone with the energy healer, and you know, she just told me, okay, tell me everything that you feel that's happening. So I literally told her everything. I said, he gets sick every single December. He's not talking, you know, he's not even acknowledging his brother. He like will actually push his brother away. He's not calling us mommy and daddy. He's always in a bad mood. Like he's not, I mean, he's a toddler. So I just kind of thought like, you know, whatever is happening, let me really just express it all to her. And I also told her, look, and we work from home, so I'm very aware that the last 2 years we were building a business, and we gave him an iPad to help him learn. And these were all learning apps, and I'm so grateful that he had the time with the iPad because he learned so much. But I was also very present that that was a part of the reason why he wasn't speaking. Our experience with the energy healer was so amazing. It was like she knew exactly what Avi was trying to tell us, and that's her gift. That's what she does. I cannot quiet my mind enough to hear what my son is trying to say because I have so many things happening. So I needed another person to help me absorb or help me understand what I wasn't seeing myself. And it was so cool because, you know, she asked a lot of questions, and she said, okay, do you have any, tell me his name, tell me when he was born, do you have any other kids? And then I told her, she said, okay, so in December he always gets sick. She said, there's something happened in December before he came into the earth that would cause some kind of funky feeling for him to start manifesting this sickness over his physical body. Indeed there was, you know, and I'm not gonna go into detail, but for us, it was a very tough time. It was tough. Now it's like, you know, I'm so grateful because it built our character in our marriage. You know, and she said, well, people do curse, you know, people can curse you. So I'm not going to say that somebody cursed you, but it is something that may have happened while you were pregnant. And then she also said, what I'm getting from Aviel, now stick with me, what I'm getting from Aviel is that, because I told her he's sick. At the time he was sick with something was happening with his lymph area. So she said the lymph area is usually means that a loss of communication. There's no real interaction. You know, he's trying to communicate, but he's not seeing that he's, I don't know, for lack of better words, appreciated. He's not seeing that he's valued. So he's asking for validation from his parents, asking for the attention of his parents, and he feels like he just kind of dropped in and he doesn't know his place. So he wants, what he's asking from you is more attention. And she said, although the iPad is awesome and he's gonna learn, he's not getting the same feeling that he's gonna get from you. And I was aware of this, but it just helped me, just kind of put me back in the place of like, okay, I really get to align my time properly this year. I really get to schedule my kids first. And we were so into scheduling our business and then figuring out where our kids are gonna fit in. So we swapped that out this year and we decided we're gonna schedule kids in and our business is gonna be second. Another thing that she said was, how's his digestive system? Have you looked into his diet? What is he eating? So I said, you know, lately he's been super sick, so like he just wants whatever he wants. And she said, all right, so I'm getting something about Aviel that he needs to cut out wheat products and sugars, obviously, and she said his digestive system is not flowing the way it's supposed to be, which is another reason why he's not communicating and it's not flowing, because if something's not flowing in his body, it's gonna hold back on the flow of his communication. Another thing was that something that was so awesome was, she said, did you ever live in a high rise before we moved to this house? And she said, he really needs to be in nature. Avi needs to be barefoot in the grass. If you go to the beach, he needs to be in the sand. If he's outside, he needs to play with the dirt, but he wants to be in nature and he wants you to be with. So whether that's you crawling with him on the floor or wrestling, but he wants you to play with him in the nature. Let him be a kid. That's when they're the most expressive. And it's crazy because when we lived in an apartment, we didn't really go out much. We would just take him down to the little playground and let him, you know, play around in the, he would play on the slide, but he loved playing with the dirt. And I would always freak out like, oh my God, don't get the dirt in your hair. And he literally would go like this with the dirt and I would freak out. When he was in school, every time I would pick him up, he would literally have dirt like in his fingernails, and the teachers would be like, oh, he likes to play in the dirt, like, and to me, I was like, oh shoot, well, he needs to like sit down and be proper, da da da. And when she said that, she just said he's asking to be a kid, he's asking for more attention, he's asking for more time on earth, like, you know, feeling the nature. He's asking, switching out his diet and allowing his digestive system to flow naturally. And so it was a lot of really cool things that I got to learn from her, really just like tapping into her magic and her God-given gift, and the way that she was able to help me shift things with Aviel just gave me so much more breathing room, because I knew that I had to do this, but it just helped to hear it from the way that she was in channeling the things that Avi was asking for. Then we made an appointment with the holistic doctor, and we're not against medicine. We were just really needing and trying to figure out another way of, you know, helping our son. So Abdul took him to a holistic doctor, and I'll let him share with you.
So what's up, guys? So this is my time, just to kind of connect and share with you on a few things that I've learned when I took Avi to the holistic doctor. First, I don't even know what the hell a holistic doctor even mean. Ari just did a bunch of research, and I, obviously as a dad, you just want to kind of get to the bottom. What's the root of what's the issues going on with your kid? Now, me growing up, I was never really a big medicine taker. Even when I have a headache, I wouldn't take, you know, Tylenol, Advil, and stuff like that. I just believed in drinking water and resting, and then it would just, you know, clear up itself. We've been in the emergency room like pretty much the whole month of December. We feel like Avi was sick. Usually either in the emergency room or doing follow-up visit appointments, or trying to plan a doctor appointment. I just felt like that whole entire month was like a blur, because we didn't know what was going on with our kid. He was always sick. You know, it was a lot of things that we had no clue. We did our own research, which is good. So I tell a lot of parents, it's great to do your own research, but sometimes you have to seek to the real source for someone who actually know what they're doing. Because you get a lot of advice and opinions, but sometimes we kind of take that on as parents, and we just diagnose our kids just based off of what someone else told us. But me as a dad, I wanted to get to the root of things. And here's a few things that the holistic doctor actually gave us. But I'm gonna just share my experience when I first went into this place to a holistic doctor. The cool thing was I pulled up to this house, right? And it was like a ranch. Automatically I text Ari, I'm like, yo, this is like a ranch. I don't know if this is like the right place. But I went ahead and put the GPS in again, and then it took me to the same spot. So when I first got out, I just kind of looked around before I took Avi, just to make sure that we came to the right place. And my first like feeling was like excitement for some reason. Like I said, I've never experienced anything like this. I've never did any research. Ari did all the research, but I just felt good. I felt good when I first pulled up to this this gentleman's house, which is crazy because he has a huge house with a pool, and then one side is actually where he does his treatment with his patients. So we get in there, there's this sweet lady. She's like just being so warm and welcoming. And Avi experienced with the doctor, mind you guys, he's been there for a month, right? In and out of the doctor's appointment. So he does not like doctors. Anybody who has a white robe on, he like automatically repels from that person. He doesn't want nothing to do with you. But Avi was different when we went into this place. You know, he was more open, he was receiving. I don't know if they had lollipops there or it was something else, but he was definitely a different kid going into this place. So they asked me a few things like what was going on. I didn't tell them much because I really didn't know. I just kind of said what was happening. This is a medication they gave us. And quickly the doctor like kind of like nodded his head. That's the type of things that always happen. But he didn't shame the doctors that we previously went to. But sometimes they prescribe you stuff to kind of cover up whatever it is. And that's just me as a parent, because to treat my son for 1 month and not know what was actually happening with him, for me, that was a big problem. But who else am I going to go to? I had no clue. So I go into his office, instantly he's like just connecting with Avi, talking to Avi, and Avi is like literally like scoping this gentleman out, but he's connecting with him. And to see my son connect with a stranger like that, like he loves people, but to see him connect with a stranger, especially a doctor, it told me that, okay, this is the right place. He kept reassuring Avi, telling him that this is a great place, like everything is good. I'm just going to talk to your dad. So it was one thing, I don't know what this is called, but he had me like lift my arm up and he was like, Dad, just hold your arm firm. And he put his two fingers on like my wrist, on the top of my wrist, and he was like feeling on Avi, like, you know, his sternum area, his belly, his leg, his face. And I guess as signs showed of weakness on Avi's body, he was relaying the message to the actual receptionist, and she was taking down notes. And right there, I thought, this guy's full of crap, you know what I mean? Like, he's gonna touch my kid, like here, and you know everything. But honestly, like the things he was saying were making so much sense to me, because Avi was coughing a lot, so he had a little infection. We thought it was asthma. They were told it might be asthma. He said it might just be a respiratory thing. So he was kind of like reassuring a lot of things that we have experienced with Avi over the last month. Then he also said, oh, it might be possible for like, he might be anemic. So it was like things that I had no clue, like what was happening with my kid. But then he also asked me, he said, do you know your son's blood type? Now I didn't, right? I didn't even know my blood type. But I asked him, I said, okay, can we do a blood type test? But he did. And it was cool to know that foods that I was giving him was actually going against my son's blood type, right? And these are things that we thought were like great, like bananas, you know, like we know that bananas are healthy, orange, like stuff that Avi loves, eggs, stuff that Avi loves, just to name a few, to know that those foods were actually harming my kid. So that was a big wake-up call for me, because now I'm like, okay, well, if these things are harming my son, this is why he's experiencing some of these things. And then obviously, like, he said he doesn't prescribe medication. He prescribes vitamins through like Whole Foods, and that was pretty cool. So some of the things he gave me was like, it was called Immune Plus, if I'm saying that right, 4-Til, and then also like a probiotic. So these are like some of the vitamins that he wants my son to take up until 3 weeks, and then we'll go back in for a 3-week checkup, just to kind of get a chance to see how he progressed. But I can tell you, being his dad, when Avi went in there, it was a different kid. When he came out, I feel like everything just kind of opened up. And his communication from that day, like literally we got in the car and he was like just talking. Avi is very smart, but when it came to like communication, like he had minimum vocabulary. And we get in the car and he's like full sentence. And I'm just like shocked. I can't wait to get home. I'm like recording myself, showing Ari what he's saying. And it was things that the doctor quickly like corrected, which was the core of what he was dealing with. And literally, like, I just felt like my son, like, had just completely changed. There was a beautiful thing. The last thing I would share is, he asked about Avi's digestive system. We told him, you know, since he was born, he'll poop from time to time. It was never consistent. But the last thing was, he kind of felt around and noticed that Avi's stomach was actually pushing up towards his sternum. So he said this can be a major problem. This is probably why your son is XYZ. So he just readjusted his actual stomach and pushed it to the right place where it's supposed to be. And then from there, like, Avi has just been, he's always happy, but he's just been in a different mindset. His attitude has changed. He's been verbalizing more. He's been communicating with us more. So these are small things that we take as a huge victory from not knowing what was happening with our kids. So I hope this reached somebody. If you're dealing with some of these issues, my recommendation would be is, yes, do your own research, but definitely reach out to a professional. And if people offer you advice, take the advice, but to also still reach out to a professional, because there's people who actually study these things, who can get to the core and be able to give you as a parent more at ease, so you don't feel like you're in a guessing game and then you're just pumping medicine in your baby, hoping that one day he'll feel better, and not know what's going on with your kid. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.